My name is Keren Hadad-Taub, and in my private practice, I work with couples and individuals on their relationships. Today, I'd like to discuss what Dr. John Gottman of the Gottman Institute calls small things done often. And the question is, in relationships, do we need the grand gestures, the big wow events, or the big presents or gestures? Or do we need the small things? Um, and the interesting thing is that with Dr. Gottman's research, he found out that small things that are done often have the same weight as one large thing. Like if you have this huge cruise booked or a very big surprise party done for your partner, it weighs the same as you remembering to get milk on the way back home. Um, and that's really interesting to understand that what our partner really needs is for us to stop and think about them during the day and do small things that indicate that we're thinking about them, that we understand their needs, that we are there for them. And these things can be as small as texting your partner when you're at work, saying that you're thinking about them, remembering to, as I said, to get milk on the way home, remembering to ask them when you meet up at the end of the day, how was their day? And remembering that in the morning they told you that they're having this big presentation and asking about it. How was it? And intimately remembering which people are the ones that they're looking forward to meet during their day at work and which people they're worried about interacting with. So these things are very important to remember. And in order to do that, we can really plug them into our daily routine by having at the beginning of the day a 5-minute conversation of asking our partner what's on your mind and what's on your heart today. What are you worried about? What are you excited to and looking forward to in your day? And when you start the day with this conversation and being very mindful and listening to what your partner is saying and being curious about what it is that is in store for them. And then at the end of the day, when you have this 15-minute meetup where you have your coffee or just sit down together and kind of discuss your day and and remember to ask your partner about these prompts that they gave you in the beginning of the day of of their, as I said, their presentation, their meeting with their boss, a new initiative that they've started, how they got along with the new project. And when you have these conversations, you create more intimacy between the two of you, and your partner really feels like you have them in mind, and that is something that is very important to us as individuals, to have this feeling that we're special to somebody, that somebody is thinking of us even when we're not together. um, Dr. Sue Johnson of EFT, she talks about it as something that really helps us reduce our own stress levels when we keep in mind our partners. And she gives this example of her being in a plane, and that plane going through some rocky air pockets, and when the plane was kind of shaking, and she was feeling really scared, she kind of felt herself thinking of her partner and feeling this sense of calm going through her. And that is a very that is something we should be keeping in mind, how important our partner is for us to help us calm our nervous system. And using that for ourselves. And when we interact with our partner, understanding that if that is the case for us, that is usually in a secure relationship, the case for our partner as well. So when we are in this interaction, when we are sitting down at the end of the day and our partner really wants to tell us about their day, um, we should be present there. We should be listening to them very mindfully and being curious about what they tell us. And being curious is not giving advice, but really trying to understand our partner's perspective. What happened there? How are you feeling? What are you worried about? How can I be there for you? How can I help you? How can I support you? And these are questions that we should ask before we give our advice. Well, you should have told him this and that, and kind of before jumping in, we should just first take a breath and really listen and really understand, because understanding really should come before advice giving. Because when we give advice before we truly understand what our partner is talking about, we're off the mark. And they don't really need that advice at that point if they didn't ask for it. And only when we ask, what do you need from me? And they say, I need to hear your perspective. I need some advice as to what to do about A, B, or C. Then we should give the advice. So that's one thing that we could do. Ask in the morning, what's on your heart and what's on your mind today? And at the end of the day, when we meet up, we should really ask, how was that meeting that you mentioned in the morning? How did this and that go? And how are you right now? So this is one thing that we can do on a daily basis. Another thing that Dr. John Gottman gives us very good advice is to increase our intimacy, a 6-second kiss. When we leave the house and when we meet up. And he says a 6-second kiss can create an intimacy, and it's a kiss with potential. So that's also something that is very small, and we can do it often. Dr. Stan Tetkin, that talks a lot about synchronizing our neurosystems, says that whenever we are not in the same space as individuals, we kind of go out of harmony. And in order to resynchronize ourselves, he says that whenever we want to have a very intimate conversation we should start with a really long hug. And that hug synchronizes our pulse. So we are on the same wavelength. So that is also something that we can use before we get into even the smallest conversation as what we're planning to do next week or on holiday. So that's another thing that we could use on a daily basis to help us reconnect. Another way that, another suggestion of something we can do often is a weekly talk about our chores. And that weekly talk, we can kind of, if we have or create this list of chores that are done in the house, and we can say which chores were done and how they were done, kind of having this clearing the air conversation about the chores, not having one person holding all the mental load of the chores of the house. So if we have this master list of all the chores and when they should be done, and if one chore is connected to the other and they're split between us, how we can synchronize that split. So let's say I make the list of things that need to go shopping and you're the one that does the shopping. By which time do you need the list ready so that you can do the shopping? And when I say that I'm going to do the cooking, um, by which time do I need the shopping done? So synchronizing the chores and also talking about the standard that we need them done by, which means if you're doing the laundry, I really need it folded as well, and in the closet, and not just dumped on the bed. And really talking these through, things that we sometimes kind of push to the side and don't want to discuss because we don't want to upset each other. We don't want to be um, like, we don't want to sound like a mom, or we just kind of oversee them and kind of get really frustrated and resentful towards our partner. So chores are also, I would say that they're an act of love when we discuss our chores and when we do them and when we see them as investing in our relationship, because when our surrounding is comfortable and when we feel like we know what's bothering our partner, if our partner is not very tidy but needs a tidy space to work in, and we understand that and we're mindful of that, even if we are kind of messy, but we understand that that's their need, that when there is order around them and everything is neat and tidy, then they're more at ease and less stressed, and we do that for them, then it's an act of love, then we're investing in our relationship. So all these tiny little things that we just discussed are things that we can do um, to invest in our relationship, to create a secure bond, to create a loving relationships and a loving relationship that, and these are really small things that don't cost a lot of money and usually don't take a lot of time. So we discussed this conversation we're having, a question we're asking in the beginning of the day, a question at the end of the day, touch, kiss, and a conversation about chores that could be helpful. Thank you for listening to this episode of Just the Two of Us. I'm Keren Hadad-Taub. My practice is in Har Adar in Israel, and I also see couples and individuals online via Zoom. Um, like and follow me. And if you like this episode, please share it with friends and family. If you want to connect with me and kind of comment or ask me questions, you're more than welcome to follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Keren Hadad-Taub, on my Instagram page, Keren Hadad-Taub, and my website, www.kerenor.info. Thank you for listening. Bye.